I'm Dave, and my wife Laura. We are the parents of Hadley, who is 3, and Alden, who is 1. They are born exactly 2 years from each other, just shy of January 10th and January 29th. We live on Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and each of us comes from a big, large, extended family. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but it's one of the blessings that we have is a lot of hands-on support through parents, grandparents, siblings, cousins. It's always been a big part of our life, and really what drew two of us together, or one of many things.
Mhm. My name's Laura. I'm a proud mom of 2, and Hadley, our 3-year-old, is our neurotypical child. Her middle name is Joy, and she so far has lived up to that in every way. She is a very happy, bubbly person, and has really been a saving grace in some of our kind of darker days, at least for me. And Alden is our little 1-year-old, and he was born with a brain malformation called polymicrogyria. Is kind of his biggest umbrella diagnosis. We did not know at birth, but found out when he was 4.5 months old. So it's funny or it's not funny. It's interesting looking back on it, and you can see I knew something was wrong much sooner than I was willing to admit to myself. He had a pretty small head circumference, and I remember emailing the doctor when he was 2 months old saying, fifth percentile seems a little small. She said, no, it's fine. And then, he was not tracking toys, really tracked faces, but wouldn't see toys. And that seemed a little off to me, but everybody says don't compare to the big sister. And but my mommy instincts were up, and I am also a nurse practitioner, so some of my nursing training kicked in when I started seeing things like asymmetrical weakness. So he really didn't open his left hand very much, and I just knew as a nurse that was not an okay thing for a baby. So that led us to a fairly quick diagnosis. We saw him make a couple kind of abnormal movements on Memorial Day when he was 4.5 months old, and I sent them into the on-call doc, who looked at them and definitely raised a red flag in her mind, and sent them to the on-call neurologist and MRI, which showed us that he has multiple brain malformations, primarily this polymicrogyria, which is poly is many, micro is small, gyria are the folds of your brain. So his whole brain folded wrong, or that's at least the maladaptive way to think about it. His brain formed differently, perhaps is a better way to think about it. So what turned out to be a kind of mommy instinct, and something that was much deeper. I had a very poor bond with him, which I kind of labeled as postpartum depression, was much more than that. And I think that they are related, in that, he wasn't snuggling in the same way or connecting in the same way because he couldn't at the time, because he was just that much more, underdeveloped neurologically. I was frustrated with the pediatrician, and I was frustrated with Dave. We, have talked about it since, but he was seeing a lot of anxiety coming from me. It was just this visceral fear that I had, that I really couldn't articulate. And Dave saw his wife as anxious, and that was hard for him to see.